All right, so I bet a lot of you out there are thinking about Tesla stock. Are you thinking about buying it or selling it, or are you just holding on for dear life?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do a deep dive on an analysis we have here called Tesla Stock Analysis. Is it time to buy or sell?
Hmm. It's a great question. And I think a lot of people are wondering that. And it's interesting because, this analysis, it doesn't really give you a straight yes or no answer.
Yeah.
What it does is it kind of digs into all these factors that are influencing the stock right now.
Right.
So it's more about understanding like the why.
Exactly. And, I love a good deep dive. I love a good why.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that jumped out to you as you were reading this analysis?
Well, right off the bat, the thing that jumped out at me was how volatile the stock is. And I think that's something that everybody knows. But they really highlight it in this analysis. They point out that it's swung by over 15% in the past month alone,
Wow.
which makes it one of the most volatile stocks in the entire tech sector.
Okay, so that explains why I feel like every time I look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's up or it's down.
Yeah.
Just like every day, it's like a whole new roller coaster.
Yeah. It's a real wild ride.
Yeah.
It is.
So 15%, that's crazy. So the analysis talks about a few reasons for that, right? For that volatility.
Yeah, it does.
What are some of those?
Well, obviously the overall market conditions have not been super stable lately. We've got rising interest rates. There's a lot of whispers about a potential recession.
Mm.
All that stuff plays a role,
It's
obviously.
not just Tesla specific, then.
Exactly. It's not in a vacuum. But then, then there's Tesla's own performance, which the analysis digs into pretty deeply.
Hmm.
And they've had some wins lately, like exceeding delivery expectations last quarter.
Right.
But they're also facing some challenges, like production challenges at their new factories. And then, there's the ever-increasing competition in the EV market.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like just a couple of years ago, we were talking about how Tesla was the only one doing this.
Yeah.
And it was like such a new and innovative company. And now it feels like every single car company is like, oh, we also make an electric car.
Yeah, it's true. And the analysis actually points to Ford's Mustang Mach-E outselling the Model 3 in Q2 this year.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was really interesting because it
Yeah.
shows, that traditional automakers are really starting to become a serious threat to Tesla.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
This kind of competition just wasn't there, a few years ago.
Right. Okay. So we've got all these external factors. We've got what's going on internally with Tesla itself. But let's get to the bottom line.
Right. Right.
Buy or sell. What is this analysis? What does it say about those two sides of the coin?
Yeah, well, so for the buy argument, the analysis highlights that Tesla is still the leader in the EV space. They have this incredibly powerful brand. They have a reputation for innovation.
Mm.
They're expanding globally. And their long-term plans are pretty ambitious, to say the least.
Yeah.
So the argument is, if you believe in the future of EVs, Tesla is still a really good bet.
Okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that argument. But what about the people who are saying sell, sell, sell? What are their concerns?
Well, I think a valid concern that the analysis brings up is Tesla's current valuation. Some analysts believe it's inflated. It's kind of that classic question of, is the hype getting ahead of reality?
Right.
They bring up the price-to-earnings ratio, which for Tesla is currently around 60, which is significantly higher than the industry average.
So just for people who are like me and don't always understand all the financial terms, what does price to earnings ratio actually mean?
Yeah, basically it means for every dollar of earnings, how much are you paying for the stock?
Okay.
So Tesla's is really high, which means you're paying a premium for those earnings.
Got it. Okay, so Tesla's is much higher than the average car company.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And then, of course, there are the risks that we already talked about, the competition, the economic uncertainty,
Right.
the production hiccups. So, the analysis is basically suggesting that for some investors, this might be the right time to cash out
Mm-hmm.
and maybe, look for opportunities elsewhere.
So, okay, so for our listener who is, maybe they're thinking about buying Tesla stock, maybe they're thinking about selling it, what are the big takeaways here for them from this analysis?
I think the biggest takeaway is that there's no easy answer. This analysis really emphasizes that investing in Tesla, just like any stock, comes with risks. You really have to do your own research and think about your own financial goals and how much risk you're comfortable with. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Like any investment decision.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, this has been a really helpful breakdown, I think. I know I've got a lot to think about now.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And you know what? This whole deep dive into Tesla stock has got me thinking about something else.
What's that?
What if instead of, trying to figure out whether to buy or sell this one particular stock, what if people thought about the EV market more
Yeah.
broadly
Right.
and maybe thought about, investing in that as a whole, maybe an ETS or, something that tracks that.
I think that's a great idea, and that way you could potentially capitalize on the growth of the whole industry.
Right, exactly. Not just one company.
Right.
Just a thought. Okay. Well, thanks again for listening, everybody.
Yeah, same.
And we will catch you next time.
See you later.